Hello everyone and welcome back to Real Estate with Brenda Rivera. Today we are going to share with you all what you need to know about home loans. So today I have a special privilege on having Cathy Haddad, who is a mortgage consultant with Atlantic Home Loans.
Thank you.
And so let's go straight to talking about and just knowing the difference between a pre-approval and pre-qualifications, which some buyers, first-time buyers especially, they really don't know which route to go. And so if you can explain to us on that.
I'm happy to do so. Hi, I'm Cathy Haddad with Atlantic Home Loans. And basically the big differences between a pre-qualification and a pre-approval is a pre-qualification is simply an application and potentially even running credit or maybe not running credit. And a pre-approval is one step further. It's your application, credit, and we're also going to want to review your income and your assets or anything that we may feel that could be a problem down the road that we may want to review up front as well. And so as you can see, there's a pretty big difference because us reviewing your income and your assets, that's actually validating the information, so it avoids any 11th hour surprises down the road. And I really highly encourage that that's the way you go. Even though it's a little bit extra work, it's something that you have to do anyway when you purchase a home, so you might as well do it up front. But not only do it with any lender, you should pick a lender that actually knows how to review and calculate your income and your assets and look for problems that could be, any red flags that could be problems down the road.
Yes. And so just to cover 2 points, which is very important, when it comes to dealing with first-time home buyers, you do have the rational side and you do have the emotional side. Rational side is basically knowing, the information about the property, and the emotional side is, you fall in love with a home, especially there, you go to open house and you fall in love with the home, but then when you go and meet with the mortgage consultant and you realize that, that particular home that you fell in love with was really out of your range. And this is why it is very important that the first step that you do as a first-time home buyer is to meet up, schedule an appointment with a mortgage consultant, so then that way you know
Absolutely.
what your pre-approval is.
Well, that's one of the things that we look at when we're getting you pre-approved is we determine what your buying power is. So what kind of purchase price you should be looking at, what kind of property taxes you should be looking at. And we could even reverse engineer where we're able to say, okay, I want to pay this amount per month. We can tell you what kind of property taxes and purchase price you should be looking at. And that should be your very, very first step because again, you don't want to look at a home that you can't afford, or you don't want to look at a home that maybe you can afford a little bit more and maybe get that extra bathroom with that extra square footage.
Yeah. So the next thing we want to cover is down payments. And some first-time home buyers, they're like, down payment, I would love to go and purchase a home, but I don't know if I can actually, if I do have the funds for a down payment. So if you can talk to us about the down payments.
Sure. So there's such a misconception. A lot of people think they have to put 20% down to purchase a home, and that's not true. We have programs that allow you to put as little as 3% down. So you can use your income tax check that you're going to get pretty soon and use that for your down payment. This is the time to actually consider using that because it's literally so easy to save up your 3%. And what's also great is that you can even finance in your closing costs. So you don't necessarily have to come to the closing table with your closing costs. And there's also so many grants out there in New Jersey that you could look to see, and we can help you figure out if you are able to qualify for these grants where they'll basically cover your closing costs for you.
Wow, that is awesome. So make sure if you are in the process of looking for a home and you want to know more about those particular grants, you can give Cathy a call and she'll break everything down for you. Now, the final thing that is also important is when you find a home, the offer is submitted, we got the inspections done, we got the appraisals done. Now is the moment where what a first-time home buyer should know, what they should do or what they shouldn't do, while they're in the process of just wrapping up, and they're almost at the closing table. So what is the advice that you would recommend to give?
Absolutely. So I'm going to talk about the things that you should not do. That's one of the things that we educate when we have an initial call. We will let you know a few things that you should make sure that when you're in the process of buying, you should not do. A few of them will be, you should not switch jobs in the middle of trying to purchase a home, because sometimes if you're going, let's say, from a W-2 to a 1099, you no longer qualify for a mortgage because you're going to have to wait now 2 years to purchase a home. You should never deposit cash into your account because of the Patriot Act. Cash is no good. So we can talk to you about other ways of how to figure out with your cash of how to make sure that you deposit it in there correctly. You should never close out bank accounts and open new one, because when you close out your bank account, now you've lost all that history, and we have to go back 60 days to source and document any of the funds. Also, don't co-sign for any accounts. A lot of people co-sign for a car or a student loan. They don't think that because they're a co-signer that it counts against them. It actually will be counted against you. You should also make sure that you don't open any new credit cards, purchase any new cars, or anything that will show up on your credit, like any installment loans, revolving debt, any home purchases. All of that will be counted against you as well.
Yeah, and which is important to know, because, you know, by you taking the time and the effort to finally find your home, you really don't want to make that one mistake that can actually just, you know, cut everything, you know, and just close everything out to where you're like, okay, now what do I need to do? So that is why it is so important that the first thing that you do is to speak to a mortgage consultant. I know for a fact, if you can also share the success stories, what Atlantic Home Loans has done in 2019. I mean, you know, when you have the right professional people in place, that can actually say to you, you know, give you advice, give you a sense of direction. When you see that, you know, okay, this is the steps that I need to take to ensure that we will get the keys to our dream home. Can you just share with us very quickly some success that Atlantic Home Loans has achieved last year, and how many new first-time home buyers actually received their, or, you know, went forward with their home, their dream home? We've
helped so many buyers. Last year, personally, I closed almost 140 million, closing over 330 clients have purchased a home last year with us.
That's awesome.
With my team personally. And so some of the success stories, like I can tell you, last week, I had a client that was under contract, and their brother, who got a mortgage, referred them to me, and I was able to look at a different loan program for them because they went on with an online bank and they just put them in the first thing that they thought was the best for them. Not realizing that there was other loan programs out there as an expert that I was able to help them, and they saved $350 on their monthly payment just by switching a loan program.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, so like this is a big deal. Picking the right lender is crucially important because it can determine what are you really getting yourself into. Sometimes you look for just the lowest rate or the lowest fees, but sometimes it's not only just about that. That's important too, but it's also picking an expert, a local expert that's going to be able to figure out and get you into the right loan.
Wow, that's awesome. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness. I mean, all this information, I know it's going to have changed the minds of those of you who are looking to purchasing a home. Now, as you have received all this great information, I hope you look at home ownership as a possibility. And it is possible, believe me. She's seen it, she's done it last year, her and her team. I've seen it for myself as an agent. So thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode for next week. And also make sure you follow me on Facebook and on Instagram. And pretty soon I will be having my YouTube channel posted up. So just be on the lookout on when the release of episode 3 will be coming out. Thank you so much.
Thanks.